Hello, and welcome to episode 155 of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic.
I am
Um,
Trix.
I'd be riddling. Dominic has kind of welcomed us, or I can't remember the words. Introduced us, the easiest way. Us. So I wasn't expecting to do it today.
Usually when I do the introductions, I do get interrupted at some point, so I was trying to head it off and see if y'all would catch on.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
no, we don't plan to be nice. We plan to interrupt.
Yes.
No.
Well, this is the episode about me trying to foil your plans. So here we are.
I'm gonna get
Fair
ahead of
enough.
it and address the allegations that I am currently fried because I just worked an 8-hour kitchen shift.
Hell yeah.
And I will also address the allegations. I did contact somebody in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership about trading teams, and apparently that was enough to cause a controversy on that Discord. So
Hell yeah.
let the lesson be known: never talk to your friends.
Speaking of
gambling.
controversies, we have quite a bit of things to talk about this week. Trix, you picked Floral Shoppe by Macintosh Plus.
Yes, I did.
Ritz, you picked the Dancing Because I'm Sad EP by RAAVE Tapes. You also suggested the RAAVE Tapes self-titled EP if we wanted. And No
Yep.
Place Like Home by Vacations.
Yes.
Meanwhile, my pick was the We Don't Care About Sports demos from Online Friends, as well as their controversial is the wrong word maybe, but their Kanye Midwest EP, which is weird.
Yeah, you wouldn't call it controversial for the sake of the Kanye Midwest EP. You'd call it, I guess you'd call it incidental, more so, with them split.
I mean, where do we want to start this week?
I know I'm gonna go rip into my own pick here, but I reckon we just start off with probably the one that's got the least to talk about out of all of them. And as much as I love it, as much as one of the tracks is one of my favorite songs of last year, I do have to be realistic with this as an album before it is the least out of all of them, and that's the Vacations album.
This is really fun.
Our first 2024 pick.
Yes.
So, Vacations. If you're an Australian, you somehow don't know this band. They are probably the most popular Australian band that no one in Australia knows.
I know
it's a bit of a,
I'm American.
It's a bit of an exaggeration, but they have completely blown up in the United States. But surprisingly, in Australia, they are still pretty underground. It is just kind of one of those weird things that's happened.
They've blown up so much they moved here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they are originally a Newcastle-based band. Both of the picks that I picked are both Nova Cross-Tune. I actually saw them open for Spacey Jane back in like 2019, and they had popularity still, but it was they were a little smaller than they are now. But again, they're just not really known in this country. It's one of those just weird things. This is their third album, I believe.
Yes.
I believe it's third and a couple EPs. I was definitely drawn to this much more than their previous stuff, with the singles leading up to this grabbing my attention, specifically Midwest, which is my second favorite song of the year because it is just a really perfect pop song.
Midwest.
Sometimes that's all you need. That's really as much intro as you can have. It's a dream pop, Newcastle dream pop, but they're not really based in Newcastle anymore, even though they definitely do. They still kind of represent Newcastle. It's kind of just, yeah.
This is a great example of one of those albums that I listened to today. It was cool. I liked it. Could not remember a ton of it right now.
My take is, earlier in the chat I said I needed time to decompress after work. I was listening to this while decompressing because it's just that perfect for it.
It reminds me a lot of Phone Boy.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's calmer
Phone Boy
than
is a little more
Boy,
aggressive.
Though. Yeah.
You both spoke at the same time, so I don't know what both of you said.
We're both saying
we both said the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Opposite sides
calmer.
of the same thing.
Yeah.
And all the people were comparing them to Mac DeMarco, but I feel like that's not exactly right.
I feel like that's a more relevant comparison, though.
I think it's more relevant than Phone Boy, but it's still a case of that. I wouldn't really call them in the same vein as Mac DeMarco. Yes, it's dreamy, yes, it's poppy, but they're on different spectrums of it.
They're more
I mean,
sterile than Mac
yeah.
DeMarco and his unshaven, just got out of a bar shift.
Yeah.
But going on to Dominic's take of you listen to it today and you can't remember a whole lot of it, I can safely say after having listened to it probably 5 or 6 times now, because I was really excited for this album on release and coming in, coming into this, it doesn't change that much. There is a couple moments on this which I think are really well executed still, and that's the closest it gets to being memorable. But there is just a lot of background noise to this album. Now, it's good background noise, but that doesn't stop it from being background.
Like, it's nice. I would probably say I liked it. I enjoyed it, but yeah,
I've been a fan of Vacations. I actually almost put them on the podcast a few times.
I
interesting.
believe
Okay.
it.
I mean, yeah, I guess that checks out. They sound enough like the other things you've picked.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, the first song on this, which is a moment I definitely can remember, it was one of the singles. Definitely sounds like something I've picked because it sounds so much like a Last Dinosaur song, which makes sense. They toured with Last Dinosaurs,
You remember
but
any
it
specific
definitely
lyrics?
has not so much the lyrics, but you know that there's a bit of a riff that goes into there that sounds very much ripped from In a Million Years.
Okay.
It's fuck, I can't reproduce the sound, but you listen to this kind of just little synth that's going into there, and it sounds like from Last Dinosaur's debut.
Okay. I mean, that checks out. Another band I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking of was what was it? Surf Rock is Dead. Was that the band?
Yes.
I feel like there was a little bit of that in here. Which is like an indie pop dreamy thing. Like, that's kind of just what I've been naming. It's just bands and groups that kind of all live either in that space or adjacent to it.
I get you.
But the big issue is with this album still is once you kind of listen to it, you haven't really been taking anything away except for a couple songs. As an album, it's just a good listen. Like, I can't tell you a certain moment on here in which I go, fuck, that sucked, because I don't think there's any moment like that. But you know, there's ways of asking what is a bad album, and there's two different descriptions. It's the being filled with bad shit in the album or lacking anything good. This definitely doesn't lack anything good. There are great songs on here, but there are songs in which I feel like do border where they just kind of exist, and it just feels like a letdown when you have those highs, which are really memorable. Like, they're able to create some of the catchiest dream pop, which dream pop itself is not really a catchy genre. It's earwormy, yeah, but you're not so much singing along all the time to certain songs. It's usually kind of just a relaxing type of genre. Now,
Sure.
granted, there are going to be dream pop fans who will come at me and say like, "Oh, but look, I know all these Always songs, or I know all these Mazzy Star songs." It's like, yeah, everybody knows "Fade Into You." It's been covered 1,000 fucking times. But like, I can tell you how "Over You," "Next Exit" goes, how "A Midwest" goes, how "Terms and Conditions" goes. Those are all great songs in which they do execute them well, and there's just enough there to make you actually pay attention and remember it. But a lot of this just gets. I mean, granted, we do listen to a lot of stuff. Stuff is going to get lost in the source, but I feel like even in a week where I was listening to this on and on and on, I'd still feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midwest fucking bangs though. That song's incredible.
Midwest is the best song off the album.
Yeah. We're
I
starting at the finish line. And always say always. I can't sing.
I kind of remember that song now a little bit. Yeah, that I liked it. It's like it's just that thing of like you tell me a line, I'll kind of remember, like, yeah, that was great. But like, compared to other things we've listened to this week, there's just for me not that staying power. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
I hate to call
I
it a
want to
blunder,
call this
right?
album. Yeah, well, I think Blender is what it is. I couldn't tell you a favorite or least favorite, and I'm the one who picked it. I'm the one who's listened to it like 5 or 6 times now. I think this is actually the definition, not the definition, but a definition of a blender. Where it just, when you actually get deep into the album, it's still good. It's still a good listen. If you like the vibes of the singles, you will like listening to this as an album. It's probably a rude thing to say, but it's the thing I'll say. It is a passing grade, which to me is a disappointment because the singles were so strong. I was expecting a potential album of the year early in the year here, but sometimes you got to get disappointed. And again, I don't hate it. It's just it's so, it's not so void, but it is kind of void of what made the singles great in the deeper cuts, and it in the end doesn't really change up until like the 9th song where it gets acoustic, which isn't really experimental. It's just a more lower, slower paced acoustic track on here. And to its credit, it all flows well. It's an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
an album.
that's it.
It's their big comeback from the main songwriter, having to go through diagnosis of OCD and dealing with that, and COVID,
Which is
all
a
that
part of term.
stuff.
The OCD diagnosis is a part of terms and conditions as well. I remember reading when that was released. The actual read up in the singles were pretty good. Like, he was talking about how terms and conditions was him coming to basically terms with getting diagnosed with OCD.
Yeah.
How Midwest was basically their first breakup song that they ever actually wrote.
And it's like Forever in
That's
Bloom
just
came out in September of 2020, but this was definitely like the thing they worked on, once he was able to start writing songs again and like get in that mindset. So like, like many other things we've ended up covering over the years, the presence of the pandemic and everything at least is interesting, and it's like, and how it was conceived and made.
Yeah. Fun listen.
Yeah.
Fun listen.
2024 is probably going to have some better albums by the end, though. So,
yes.
I mean, if it's the worst album we listened to this year, it's a pretty good year.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah.
Anyone have any favorites or least favorites?
Oh,
Midwest.
Midwest. I think we can all agree Midwest is the favorite, even if Dominic's just doing that for the sake of being cool.
I will do that. Yes.
Good man.
Otherwise, Wonder.
Yeah, I can't really pick a least favorite. I might pick something like Off Season, to just because it's forgettable still, but like so is the other deep cuts. So I don't know. You put it on, I won't tell you I hate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, so here's the thing. We should just move on from blender to blender, because there's another blender for me this week. And that is
Shop?
No. It's the we don't care about sports demos.
Yeah. Should we tap on the Kanye Midwest?
Yeah, we could talk about it here too. So, Online Friends, Fifth Wave Emo Act from Minnesota. We will be interviewing them soon on the show. So I wanted to expand our knowledge of their discography a little bit, because we covered Unlimited Blade Works last year as like a new release pick. Infamously, I bought the album live on air.
Great moment. Top 10 Dissonant Waves moment for sure.
Yes.
I still remember songs like Scotland. I remember like Sign Language was interesting. Watching Clocks.
Flower Child was my 48th favorite song of last year, and I stand by it.
But here we have what is ostensibly their first album, the demos of which exist, but the album itself does not exist.
Mm.
This is the album, more or less.
This
And
is
then
otherwise known as the Ritalin for Kids way of putting out an album.
yes. So this was released in May of 2020, and then around the same time comes the Kanye Midwest EP, which was March of 2020, which was also released originally in a split with a band that the online friends says they do not wish to associate with any longer. I have found the split. I won't talk about it much except to say that it was a, even two-track split. This is the released version of their stuff. Kanye Midwest, and then a cover of an Oso Oso song. 2020 was a big year for them.
In order to not publicize the name of what's happened, I won't say the name of the other band on the split. I actually haven't found out too much information of what exactly happened, but if that's the case, it might be stuff that I probably shouldn't find out what's happened.
Yeah, I haven't found much of
but
anything either, but yeah.
You can find which band it was though, because there is a comment on the files on the split that say specifically the old band from that.
I mean, the old band, they have the split on their, site. You can find it.
Yeah, I just haven't.
No, not saying you should. I'm just saying, like, that's how I confirmed that that's what it was, because it's like, oh yeah, that's it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, collectively though, this was the beginning point of online friends. And like, I kind of have the same basic comment I had for Unlimited Blade Works, but this is more of pretty much what I have to say, where that one I had more, but this is just like, yeah, this is emo. This has the voice, it has the tone, it has the guitar, it has the songwriting, it all fits, checks the boxes.
It even had the fucking Neverment sample at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, and they had some interesting other, like, fun little throw-ins too. Billy Mays. Some fun little, like, studio chatter. Making fun of their own songwriting.
Yeah, I agree in a sense, like, we have basically the same criticisms and same praises as we do as Unlimited Blade Works here on this album. One thing I could definitely tell from listening to both of these, kind of like, well, I listened to a couple songs from Unlimited Blade Works, like, kind of after listening to this.
Yeah.
And this is mixed so much lower.
Well, yeah,
like,
they're demos.
Yeah. But, like, it is incredibly soft. Like, the volume is pretty fucking low on it. It's kind of a bit jarring when you've turned the volume up and then you listen to the next one and it's almost fucking shouting because you're so used to it being at a lower volume.
Yeah.
On there. But, yeah, this is definitely a very rough album. It's you kind of like, hey, we've planned to put out our first full length, and then they didn't really put the full length on there. I mean, it even says on the Bandcamp, we don't know when the final version is coming out. Stop asking us. So
Yeah.
I know exactly what my first question is.
Why do you want to stop asking you, huh? But yeah.
With all of it, though, there's definitely still a lot of fun production choices that they tried to make on not only this, but the single. I think the Kanye Midwest single has probably one of the funniest opening samples I've heard in a while, with the shitty YouTube poop of Rock the Fuck Out.
Yeah, that was great. Always fun to source a CDI.
It goes into a very rough song and like opening thing. It's I don't mind the song's kind of concept. I think it's kind of just a bit too rough at times for me to really get into it. It feels like they probably could have taken another take on it, but obviously, knowing where the split's at and stuff, it's kind of just a song that just exists now, and I think they're probably happy to just leave it there. Yeah, I don't know if I got really too much to say other than it's kind of like Unlimited Blade Works. I mean, Unlimited Blade Works is basically this, but better.
Yes.
just because its production is done
Yeah.
a lot better and everything's a little bit more tighter when it fits around. Even though it still has some of that kind of scrambly moments in the timings of everything that doesn't always fit so well onto it. I still think the concepts of what they're doing here is it's still interesting enough.
Definitely.
It's like a time it's like a time capsule going into demo albums usually, and you go like, oh, this is what things could have originally sounded like. But we're finding out what things originally sounded like because we don't know what they were supposed to sound like in the end.
Right.
It just came out.
Right.
It's kind of that like, yeah, this is like you said, kind of like a timestamp or just like a marker of like where things were. This is May 2020. You know, interesting like to see who they're shouting out. You know, because they're shouting out a lot of bands that we've either covered or like related, right? They shout
Yeah.
out Glass Beach, Ogbert the Nerd, Plague Skater, which is Postcard Nowhere, B. Lambert's in Plague Skater, Origami Angel, Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooley. But like, they're aware of the scene, they're trying to contribute to it. And I feel like where a lot of those bands are focused on getting more polished and like having like the best versions of their songs sometimes. Not always, but this seems like a band that's very much just like, here's what we have, take it or leave it. And I have to respect that too.
Very much so.
Again, I want to go further into it, but there's not really much I kind of can other than like there's kind of a couple funny samples on it. I don't really want to ruin the jokes and stuff that happen in there, but I guess I'll ruin one of it. I liked about how what song was it? It was Yay Sports, where one of the big lyrics was I'll stay up all night listening to Princess Peach alone, and at the end it's a little sample like I don't actually do that, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's not that it's funny, but it fits.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cute little end quote to put in the end there. Yeah.
Is Princess Peach an artist?
I believe so.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you go on Spotify, there's 3 different people called Princess Peach. I don't know exactly which one they're going to refer to, but I probably would have heard of it. Although I might be thinking of the Hot Mulligan song, I Fell in Love with Princess.
Yeah, that's good. It's very interesting seeing because on the Bandcamp page, of course, you can see who bought the album. You and Dan Macy are right next to each other.
Yeah, I bought it today because I was listening to it on my way to Red-Eye to pick up the Smile album and the Future album, which I'm sorry to say, internet online friends, but those 2 albums are better produced. I think Tom York's won again.
Oh, in the eternal battle of Tom York versus online friends, Tom York wins again.
Just don't ask Radiohead's views on current wars. Actually, I don't think they've actually said anything about the current stuff.
Probably not good.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What was that shitty meme you shared, Trixie? Didn't mind until Tom York spent half of the
43-minute spend defending Gaza or something like that.
Or defending Israel or something like that.
Yeah, something like
Against
that.
Gaza. That was like the take from
yeah,
it.
my bad.
There was another one where it's like I was talking about the current border situation while Tom York sings everything in its right place.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Without putting in too much fucking politics that I'm probably too much of an idiot to properly comment on, other than I don't like when kids die.
I mean, we'll go way more into it whenever we cover
funny.
Tom York this year, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. It's fun little time period. I feel like if we're really going to say what's the proper debut, it's Unlimited Blade Work.
Yeah, that's like the...
Yeah.
And that's kind of considered an EP from them as well. So weird thing.
That is.
I couldn't help but think of Dan Macy's work while listening to it. And I think, you know, in the set that Dan Macy's put out, I think his start is much stronger.
Yeah.
We could have also covered fan service, which is 25 B-sides, covers, and voice demos.
We could have.
We
But
could
we
have.
didn't.
We didn't.
I think it's interesting hearing this just as a kind of like pre-warm up for the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think comparing this to everything, it just gets a bit, again, like bottled by the fact that we're covering some pretty high produced albums. It's a little unfair.
Unfair, maybe. But I mean, we've covered a lot of different styles of production regardless. Like,
Yeah.
production isn't always going to net you points. Like, it will,
Yeah,
but it also, you know.
It's more of a sense like knowing that they got other stuff now that it's just so, it sounds so much better with that stronger production. It's yeah, it's night and day what their better work at the moment is. It's their newer stuff.
Yeah.
You can find a hook even if the production's rough.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
no, I fully agree. And there's still good moments from this. It's just those good moments are done better.
Yeah.
New stuff.
Also, I just want to say on one of the tracks, the guitar was fucking way out of tune, and it bothered me something fierce.
I can believe that, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would say my favorites, I don't know. I still FW Murnau's Skull, and I think I Call the Pizza Table probably my favorites. My least favorite's probably something like Emo Failure or They and Them.
I like Emo Failure, but my favorite is EA Sports. I mean, I think the big issue with Emo Failure is the same thing of why I like it. I mean, it is the topics on it are kind of like it's kind of weird to say that writing about how all the songs have already been written is a topic that's already been written, but I guess that's a point. I'm not really critiquing or judging it anyway. I'm just putting that out there. It's just it's good, but it's also really just stuff that we've heard before.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I call that a favorite or a least favorite? I don't know. Favorite's probably EA Sports, and I think least favorite's saying them.
The Plant Mouth cover is also pretty neat.
Oh yeah, the favorite's probably favorite of the whole thing is a sample at the start of Kanye Midwest.
There.
I don't really have a favorite, but my least favorite was whatever won that one that had the out-of-tune guitar on it. I couldn't give you a track name.
There.
Well, I picked the first album. Dominic picked the second one. Tricks. What are we going on to now?
Why don't we save the best for last and let's talk about the RAAVE tapes.
I'll debate whether or not that's the best for last, but it's
I am totally baiting right now.
Anna.
Yeah, so RAAVE tapes.
I guess I'll introduce. So I've started getting into RAAVE tapes last year when I went to this heavy, or like not so heavy in the games of things, but kind of heavy hard rock, whatever, festival up in Newcastle because Private Function and Emma and the Sniffles was playing. Dust was opening, so me and my brother drove up to Newcastle because the grand final was happening the next day, and that was when the Sydney show was happening. So yeah, and because we caught the Newcastle one, we got to catch RAAVE Tapes, who played second, who sounded absolutely nothing like anything else that was playing that day because they were electronic and everyone else was playing heavy guitars. So they definitely stood out, but God, it was fun. I've seen them try since. Saw them do a headline show over at Manly and saw them open up one of the stages at Laneway Festival last week. They have had numerous lineup changes over the 8 years they've been putting out music, maybe a bit more. Starting off as a trio, into eventually turning into the duo that is Job and Lindsay. But on their debut EP, Job was there, but Lindsay was only a backing vocalist. But then on the other EP that we're covering, she's become a full-fledged member of the band, and then their drummer's like left. Seems a very numerous lineup changes, and with it, kind of has gone from the sound of dance punk turning into a lot more electronic. It's kind of just happened.
We go from like a really harsh, like kind of noisy rockish kind of thing to like, oh, this is just fucking dance punk, fucking a lot of shit thrown in there, really blasting you in the face, clubby music. It's just fucking great.
And funnily enough, Corridor is on both of them.
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize that, but when I did, it's like, oh, that's cute. That's fun.
Which, on the debut EP, yeah, Lindsay O'Connell was doing the backing vocals on Corridor, which is just so she's technically just been on every release, even if she wasn't kind of a full-fledged member of the band in 2016. It seems I don't know exactly. She joined.
Mm-hmm.
But like, her vocals are all over "Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad." Like,
Oh yeah,
she's fucking great.
yeah. About a second EP, she's a full-fledged member.
Like,
yeah, that's the intro.
what a fucking EP. That's just like what the.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's very in your face, which I like about it. It's seeing them live. The basic way of describing them at the moment is LMFAO if they were fucking good.
I can kind of get that from the self-titled, like "Death in Your Face" and "Out of Hand." It's like these are neat. These are kind of harsh and in your face. That's an alright EP. But
yeah, but the dancing because I'm sad one just blows it out of the water.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not even a question.
It's the 1-2 punch of K-Bye and "Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad." It's just fucking phenomenal.
I mean, Stabs is a pretty fucking great song as well.
Yes, it is, and so is "To You XOXO."
It's just it's 20 minutes of just really. It's kind of like, yeah, there is some rave elements into it, but you just can't really call it a rave. You can't really call it a dance punk. It's like they're just doing their own thing. I'm a good time.
Yeah.
K-Bye has
like
some.
the debut EP, the self-titled, definitely I feel like is one of those. It's good, but it is outshined by a lot of musicians trying some of the sounds that are doing, and then it's lost in trying to be a jack of all trades, master of none. But it's not really quite a jack of all trades. The best song on it is probably Corridor, and that's probably my least favorite on Dancing because I'm sad.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
"Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad" is one of those things that if we had listened to it when in the year it came out, it would have been at the top of my list.
Funnily enough, the EP came out December 20th, 2019, so it was technically in the 2020 cycle.
My Bandcamp says June 13th, 2019.
I'm
Ooh.
going based off Spotify.
Probably a delayed release then.
Yeah, possibly. Might be right on that.
But no.
And another fun thing is K-Bye has had a little sequel released in the past month with K-High, which a lot more brighter in its sound, but still has the same amount of references to ketamine.
Yeah.
Sativa cocaine.
Trix, you've been kind of silent. What do you think?
This might actually be my favorite of the week, despite the joke I made about Floral Shoppe. This is a phenomenal little EP.
Yeah, it's just very it's dark and abrasive in all the right ways. Like it is, despite all of that, a really good pop EP.
Very much so.
I know, like K-Bye has some like instruments and like I don't know if they're samples or just whatever that I hear from like Sonic Adventure and stuff like that.
Like a Julian K type of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy about that. So I'm just like tied to something that I know and I really like, and then you like go and like take it further. It's like fuck yeah.
Have I mentioned as well that when I went to one of those shows, I picked up the RAAVE Tapes tape?
Oh,
awesome.
I'll post it in chat. It's not of either of these EPs. It's of I Will Let You Down. It's got a couple songs on it, but it's the mythical RAAVE Tapes tape. The tape from RAAVE Tapes.
Hell yeah.
I just had to make that shitty joke.
I mean,
But yeah, it's really in your face, but like it's also just quite enjoyable. It's like it's really great live. A lot of these songs as well. They still play in K-By as a closer. I think Stabs and Suds are like still in the set list a bit. They might get a bit. Oh, Corridor is 100% in as well. So they still got quite a bit of this in their set list, even though they're kind of moving towards a lot more of just like a pop electronic sound in it. While they're still keeping some of these sounds in it. Obviously, when you've lost a drummer that's on it, you start moving towards a drum machine type of sound.
yeah, which they talked about in one of the articles I was reading. It's like experimenting with it and just liking it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, would this top my EP list of 2019 if I were to make one? Probably. It's better than Gen 3.
I'm looking currently at my 2019 EPs of the year. Yeah, that's a tough one because it's definitely better than Gen 3. I agree with that. I think Gen 3 it's a good EP, but it also kind of it gets moved down a list as well. But this is currently what my top 10 is or not currently. This is what my top 10 of 2019 was. Kero Kero Benito's Civilization 1, Mag Max Hope, Benny's Fire on Mars, Middle Kids New Songs for Old Problems, Chinese Footballs Continue, which I would probably put that above Gen 3 now. Morat's Driving Music, Oliver Tree, Do You Feel Me? Love, Fame, Tragedies, I don't want to play the victim, but I'm good at it. Origami Angels Gen 3 and Baby Doobie's Space Cadet. I think it's in a fight with like I think Chinese Football, Baby Doobie, and if I had it in this RAAVE Tapes would be in a fight for that. And that Baby Doobie album is or EP is not like incredibly interesting in its sound and how it breaks it, but it's just a really well written EP. So it's like I still like it.
That's valid.
Which is
Yeah.
I don't even really like Baby Doobie's new stuff. I'm
Time and
truly
place.
hipster.
You know, it's a time and place thing. Yeah, she was cool, and then what did she met that one guy that we covered that one time.
Oscar Lang.
Yeah. Never was the same after that.
Her new stuff is just so much more popular. Obviously, she had a big breakout after the Palfu song, which sampled her. Which is good because Palfu's kind of honestly really boring. That song I like that song. And surprisingly as well, Deathbed. I thought it was a good use of a sample. Her new stuff, which kind of completely takes away the bubble grunge, which I loved from her, is just that's fine. I can't vibe with it as much. Anyway, back on the RAAVE Tapes. It's I don't know if I can really go to like too much more than what we've kind of said. Like this isn't one of those things in which you go big into the lyrics either because they are very very simplistic. But the point is that they've got a very like house influence into the structure of their songs. They are repetitive in nature. There are differences, obviously. Like K-By does have an outro and stuff, but I guess you do as well. Which makes it work definitely in a live setting as well, because you kind of just know how the song's going to go from the first minute.
Yeah.
So you can kind of sing around for the rest. And when that's a thing, you have to make sure it's a really good minute. Because if that minute is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your song, or even if it's just a moment and stuff like that, it has to be really good and be able to last a while without getting old. Like you can't put in a brilliant one-liner in a song, like you see a lot of TikTok musicians and stuff do, and expect that to carry a 3-minute song. You can definitely expect it to be advertisement for a song or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot. It's not even a new thing. People like to say that it's a new thing, but people will always go like, "Oh, this is my favorite line from the song." It's really actually all they can song. One I can always remember was Alex the Astronaut's "Already Home," which everyone was like, everyone who would talk about it would just be this one line, which was there's billionaires for presidents and parking fines at hospitals, which for a lot of people was like, oh, that's such a genius lyric, such a genius lyric. I'm not saying this in any way or trying to discredit the lyric or anything like that, but I never heard anybody say any other lyrics in it. Really good advertising for it.
Yeah.
It's advertised, but it's also kind of playing into that soundbite culture of like that one thing you remember, that one little line. It's like the whole song is more than that.
That's a song that came out in like 2015, 2016, so that's before TikTok blew up as well.
Right.
So sound bites, I know, it's just a thing that's really been a thing. And if you have a song that's kind of carried by 20 seconds, in-house and stuff, if it's a really good 20 seconds, you basically repeat that, and it has to be really good. And I feel like that's what this EP does. It's a lot of the same on individual songs, whilst the individual songs are different from each other.
And Lindsay just has that commanding voice that's just so good. Like,
and which song are you specifically mentioning?
Well, like Dancing Because I'm Sad. Like,
okay, I was gonna say because I kept thinking she was the singer on K-Bye for a couple moments until I saw it live.
I was gonna say K-Bye too, but I guess maybe I'm wrong on that. But like, at least Dancing Because I'm Sad.
Yeah, no, that's Job on K-Bye. He has a really high range.
Good for him.
Yeah,
but like, she has that like.
Oh yeah.
I was saying that like kind of like yacht, or kind of like I would say even like Brody Dalle in a way, just like that really commanding, powerful voice.
I wouldn't compare it too much to Brody Dalle, because Brody Dalle's got a lot more. I would say genderless style of vocal.
Maybe instead who did Petrol Girls, yeah?
Petrol Girls, yeah, that's it.
Petrol Girls, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison vocal wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking rad vocalist. Fucking great EP.
Both of them.
Yeah. Both of them.
Great EP. Hell yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, I added on debut EP just for a bit of history, basically. And if you wanted to listen to it, which I know Dominic did, I assume Trix didn't.
I did not get to it. I meant to. I meant to.
I meant it sincerely. It was optional, just a history, because I wasn't going to cover it on its own.
I'm counting it for me at least.
I totally get it. Yeah.
I mean, favorites for me: K-Bye, Dancing Because I'm Sad off of the Dancing Because I'm Sad. Least favorites probably Suds, maybe Corridor, maybe Suds. And then if you go into the self-titled, I like Out of Hand. Death in Your Face is a nice opener. Corridors also sounds pretty nice. My least favorite's probably like Substances or something.
Least favorite on the original is Substances. Favorite is Corridor. Least favorite on the new EP is Corridor because it just gets outshined now. Favorites are Stabs and K-Bye.
Stabs, K-Bye, and Corridor are favorites, no least favorites.
All right. Which means we have one last thing to talk about.
That we do.
I guess the main stage performance of sorts is Floral Shoppe, Macintosh Plus.
Yes.
Vektroid's
which I pitched you guys as one of the most influential albums of the 2010s.
So, do you want to introduce it before I argue and agree with you?
Sure. This is a kind of musical experiment in a way. All of these songs are just like 80s pop songs slowed down and put through a little bit of reverb. And now we have official song releases of slowed in reverb.
Yes.
In a sense, like, this album isn't just slowed and reverbed.
It's not.
There is actual production changes and remixes that happen in it. It is basically I wouldn't know if it's basically the birth of it, but it is seen as the big moment in vaporwave,
Yes.
which is a genre that is out there. In terms of influential, you are right in so many ways, and there is some technical you are wrong. In the sense of the official releases come out from major pop outlets for the past. When did this album originally come out?
2011
20.
December.
Yes.
So past 13 years out of official pop song releases. No, it hasn't done that. You actually will find there's a lot of pop songs getting shorter these days as well. But
Yeah.
where you become correct on that is when you actually look at how pop songs get released now. I mean, I can't remember which artist it was. I think it was like Dua Lipa. And there was 7 versions released of the same song for it was like very recent. I think it was Yes and actually. I'm gonna go fucking check that. Right, no, it was Ariana Grande. Apologies. This is how well I am with that. But yeah, if you look at the at that, there is 8 songs on a single now. First one is Yes and Edit, Yes and Extended Mix, Yes and Sped Up, Yes and Acapella, Yes and Slowed, Yes and Instrumental, and Yes and Extended Mix Instrumental. So that's where you become correct, is that artists are releasing officially slow and reverbed versions of their songs. It was a popular thing on YouTube to put out songs under slow and reverb. There's a Petite League one that got a couple 100,000 views randomly on there. Artists do that. It comes to social media during it where people believe, and this album doesn't have this vibe at all, so it's just gone for this. But people will do a slow and reverb because it's so much sadder. I know a lot of people are sick of this song, but I liked it when it came out. It was in my 30s for favorite song of the years. I like Glass Animals Heat Waves. I think it's a great pop song. I don't like the amount of fucking dickheads who put out a slow and reverb part on their feel sorry for me TikTok videos, but that is what a lot of people do. They do that now. It's a thing to get a slow and reverb, and because industries notice that, they start putting out that. I don't think that's a direct inference from this album, but I think you are right in the sense that having this genre get some popularity has led down to a rabbit hole that's caused it. But the other thing in which you definitely are correct and influential is that, yeah, this has inspired a whole generation of vaporwave artists, even if that scene is as small as it is.
Yes.
I kind of compare this to the 100 Gex effect, and that, like, yes, 100 Gex kind of helped codify and make hyperpop what it is. But if you listen to 100 Gex and if you listen to like 1000 Gex, that's not really what they're trying to do at all. It just happens to be a byproduct of what happened. In a similar way. Go ahead.
You go first.
I was saying, in a similar way, I don't necessarily think that Vektroid Macintosh Plus was trying to make vaporwave a genre necessarily, as much as just make a project that sounded really cool and was trying things that she liked and kind of birthed something along the way, but never intended on sticking with that as a thing. It's more of just a byproduct of style. Like the way that Vektroid releases albums is by, like, you know, if it has a specific tone or mood or something, she kind of assigns a name to it, like Macintosh Plus.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Well, if you've ever listened to newer vaporwave songs, which there was a weird trend of Simpson Wave. That was a funny one, where people would edit Simpsons videos to vaporwave songs.
I've seen those.
One of the big guys does iPod shit now.
And the actual sound of vaporwave is a lot more intentionally produced to be that sound.
Yes.
Whilst this isn't just like a remix specific or a creation of vaporwave. This is a Sorry, as I'm thinking of 5 things at once, it's just kind of remixing the old sounds of city pop. Basically, is what I get.
Yes.
This is like
Yes.
a
100%.
massive reconstruction. It's not really a deconstruction and rebuild. It's like, or just remix of city pop.
Yeah.
I was thinking
And
of, like,
it's great. It's interesting.
I was thinking of city pop a lot. I was thinking of that one Plastic Love thing that always pops up. I was also thinking a lot of. I think Mac DeMarco must have listened to this at some point.
Oh, 100%.
Like some of the stuff on One Wayne G totally is inspired by like what happened with Vaporwave and like this album.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I probably accidentally done in preparation for this album was I've picked up a while ago two compilations, both of them Pacific Breeze, Volume 2 and Volume 3, and I've actually caught up on a bit of city pop, going like having listened to them a couple times. So not in the past week or anything like that, but I still listen to it. And doing that definitely I feel was important because it gave me an appreciation for what this album's kind of sound was. I think in a sense this isn't the actual music here isn't breaking new ground. It changed what ground we already had broken into something else and created a new direction, to the sense that vaporwave is basically an offshoot of city pop now.
Yes.
Yes.
Which if you were to tell somebody that was the thing that was going to happen in like Western countries versus like where city pop was popping in like Japan, that seems so unlikely and so against logic. But
Yeah.
it works. It just fucking works because vaporwave is more. Vaporwave as a genre goes farther than what this album really does.
Oh,
If
yes.
you were to throw this against what vaporwave actually is, this is just touching it.
Yes.
Like Lisa Frank 420 is kind of the most vaporwave song of the bunch.
Yeah, and it's the best off the album, if you ask.
Oh yes,
yeah.
It is the song of the album. Floral Shoppe and
Yeah.
Library are also kind of there. I think Tay as an ender is pretty cool, but like this is historical just exploration at this point.
Yeah. Well,
It
it's a major misconception as well that the album that breaks the ground for a genre, or like basically starts a new genre, is the best from it, or is even a fantastic album. I don't think this is a fantastic albm. I think
I don't
it definitely
either.
has its flaw. I think it definitely has its
flawed.
flaws, especially as you get towards the end of it. I mean, it's the same sake of the Shags, basically, where they inspired a lot of avant-garde artists, but you can't legitimately say that's the best avant-garde album.
Yeah.
I know some people will, but we'll fucking find them later.
Yeah,
that's how I feel with this. I think it's obviously that second track, I have it all under the Japanese titles, and I can't really pronounce any of it except for the one that says aviation on it.
I mean, Wikipedia has them all translated.
Yeah, I probably should have.
Yeah.
It's definitely that big sound of vaporwave. It's a heavily memed track as well, but it is really calming, and it's like it is just a highlight of this whole thing. And when you do get those moments where like you can kind of see where vaporwave has gone from, instead of just being kind of like, in some terms I call it a glitchy mess, but sometimes it's glitchy mess is what is actually really likable about it. Like the first track was quite psychedelic in that sense.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Tame Impala's "Let It Happen," having that kind of like repeat section, like kind of like it was a broken record repeating.
I think the interesting thing to mention here is kind of what happened to Floral Shoppe. In the sense that
there's a bit of drama with the album as well. I didn't watch the video, but I saw you posted.
I mean, the vinyl controversy is kind of a footnote of the whole thing, in that like it was supposed to come out. It was kind of slow walked to a release where some people got it and then
Mhm.
people didn't get it for a long time and then more people got it over time. And I don't even think that's the end of the story necessarily, but more to
I have a
talk
buddy who
about.
spent way too much money on a copy.
Yeah, there's still people that haven't gotten it perhaps.
Yeah.
But there's also the story of like Floral Shop is not an album you could buy anymore.
Mm.
Like if you find it on like Bandcamp, it is like somebody else trying to sell it to you. That is not
Yeah,
Vektroid.
like run through a filter or something.
And there are people that have like, if you look on like Spotify, it's not there. But if you type in Floral Shop, artists have like co-opted and have like put it in their song title so that you click on that.
Yeah.
And so, it is an album that you either go to archive.org and download and, be nice to Vektroid and buy some of her other work and give her some extra money for the time that you spent. Or, just find it on YouTube and let it be a thing. Like the albums the versions I ended up listening to were the cassette and the vinyl release, which are themselves different versions than the original release.
Yeah.
Like Aviation is not on the original release, for example.
No.
It is not. And I was only
Same with
really
Iron
counting
Peak,
the
though.
original release.
I did the 2012 cassette version.
I did the cassette and the vinyl.
You guys have listened to more of the album than me then.
I mean, and then the vinyl version also had the 12th track or whatever, Zone, which is not mentioned on the Wikipedia page, but is there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's an album that exists now as, if you find it, great, but it does not seem to be like something that is meant to be, treated the same way anymore.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting as well if you go into the Macintosh Plus Bandcamp as well. It's only Floral Shoppe 6 that exists, which I'm not quite too sure what this exists as, but it's not the original version or anything like that. Or that it's kind of a weird existing whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's rare that we have covered an album that you just cannot get.
It is.
Hey, we did Seismic.
Well,
Yeah, you're right.
Floral Shoppe 6 by Macintosh Plus does not seem to be the real thing.
No.
It does not.
That's just somebody else trying to fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't buy it, so.
But if you go to Vektroid's page, you can find Floral Shoppe. It's just something you can only listen to, though. You can't buy it.
Floral Shoppe 2 seems to be this is a Vektroid authorized compilation of tracks with their permission. That's what Floral Shoppe 2 is. So I'm guessing 6 might be the same.
But it doesn't say. That's kind of the thing, though. I think 6 is a little bit. 6 seems a little bit more, maybe just grungy, trying to get people's money kind of thing.
Yeah.
You'll never get my money.
The thing I do wonder about, because I mean, I'm pretty sure Vektroid is white. The obsession and kind of use of Japanese, like it totally
don't really worry
fits.
too much about that. I mean, they could be, excuse my French, a weed, but I don't care if they are. City pop is always had quite a lot of popularity over the past. I say always is a wrong word to use, but over the past couple of decades, it's definitely had a rise in popularity in Western cultures.
I agree. I think city pop's great. My I guess my thing is like I do love that there's a focus on like the sounds of the 80s and 90s, especially through that lens. I feel like there could be more though gained from like those sounds in a more global sense too. I don't know. I don't know. Just one of those things of like I'm cool with weeb shit, but like how weeb do you want to be, Like if
I'm
I
cool with weeb shit, just don't go showing everybody else.
It's the thing of like, okay, let's say I got really into South African music, right?
Okay, David Byrne.
And like I made an album and I just started writing the titles in Afrikaans,
That's a little different, yeah.
right? Like that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like I don't know what Vektroid's like history is with like Japanese, or like if she's like fluent or something, like maybe great, I don't know. But it's the thing of like, is it a little out there?
I would probably say it this way, Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
As free white men, I don't think we are also any better off in any situation. Putting a take on it.
When were we three white men?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not free white men. That's a fucking word for free white people. Sorry, tricks.
That's better.
I had a 3-year streak of not misgendering a year, and now I fucked up. I'm handing him my AA chip.
Yeah. There is a VTuber model of her, it looks like, but
yeah. Like I don't want to like focus on like
VTuber model.
Her ethnicity or her history. It's just the thing of like, yeah, I don't know how to properly phrase it in a way that sounds intelligent. I guess.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I don't really think there's any take that we can really say about it. I think it's just these things exist. We review it as it exists. That's kind of the more important thing I was on about. And now I'm trying to think, what burgers do I go for? Because there's actually a lot of choice.
I need to hear "It's Your Moon" by Diana Ross, like in its original form.
Yeah.
Anything
it
else?
Is worth mentioning, working on another Macintosh Plus album.
Yes. I will say as an aside, I didn't know that Vektroid was Macintosh Plus for the longest time, and so I remember Giant Bomb that they did like a redo of their theme song, and Vektroid did a version of it, and that was like where I'd known Vektroid from for a while, because it was like a really out there like weird version of the theme. And then when Jeff Gerstmann ended up getting fired from Giant Bomb, the theme was subsequently replaced, so you could tell who was really into that version.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to say. Like that's where I knew Vektroid from. Then it's like, oh, that those dots got connected. That's cool.
Yeah, that's always fun.
So what this place does pork roll and gravy. You reckon we should go some pork roll and gravy? You ever had that, Tricks?
Like Taylor pork roll.
So they have like a roast pork. They just carve it, put some crackling on it, and some gravy.
Yeah, that sounds good. Here in the States, we have something called Taylor pork roll, which is heavily processed salt pork meat that is like sandwich made. It's pretty tasty too.
It sounds it. Yeah, I'm going to pork roll. I think that's
hell yeah.
Goal. That's the goal. You can add lettuce to it. Lettuce. Yeah.
I had a burger quesadilla for dinner.
I had soup and rice, keeping it simple.
Well, I made myself something at work.
I know. Fair enough.
If I got a chips and drink, do you want the drink?
Yes.
Yeah, get us chips and drinks, Ritz.
Yeah, I'm making sure my partner is filled, and I guess that's just iced tea. Anyway, I got not much else to say about the album. I'm having someone really point at me suggestively paying for something. We'll worry about that in a couple minutes.
It's fun.
Yeah,
you want to experience the wonders of Hogwarts and stay at the 4-star Strand Palace? Yeah, the transgender person didn't want to talk about Hogwarts.
Yeah.
It's an important album. My favorite track is Lisa Frank 420.
Yeah, Lisa Frank 420 is the best track off the album.
Yeah, Lisa Frank.
I also got handed the Tay as the final track, being pretty cool. But yeah. Least favorite, I don't know. Probably something like Mathematics or Standby.
Yeah. Honestly, the opening track is pretty weak.
No, I like the opening track. I like the glitchy psychedelic moments.
I do like that as well, personally.
It's cheaper to go to the Downton Abbey village. I wonder why. I wonder why people prefer Harry Potter over Downton Abbey. Couldn't be once a more successful franchise. Why are you flipping me off? I gave Harry Potter a compliment. Anyway.
So rankings.
Least favorite has probably got to be the Online Friends, just kind of barely, and then the debut RAAVE Tapes. Then I'd put the Vacations. Then I'd put Macintosh Plus. Then I'd put the second RAAVE Tapes.
I agree.
I agree too.
Unanimous.
We haven't had a unanimous in a while.
Yeah, we've had a unanimous number one in a bit ago, I think, or a bit ago is only a couple episodes ago, but it's still been a while for recording. But I don't think we've had a unanimous vote. Anyway, shall we go on to into next week, Dominic?
Yeah, someone else can start.
Well, I thought we were talking about the
Oh,
stuff that
right,
we're doing,
right.
Then we go the picks.
Yes. So next week we are interviewing online friends. So believe it or not.
I know, right?
If all goes
it's
well,
like we're prepping for that.
If all goes well, this feed that you're in will be populated by an on-camera interview with peoples from online friends. The people that brought you, they and them.
But what are we doing after that? I guess now we're on to is the worst fucking outro to an episode happens. And
yes.
I will start because I had a couple plans
Yes.
on this. So there is a gig that's happening next month that I'm going to go travel to Canberra to see because, well, with one of the openers, they kind of just clashed with my Brisbane thing in Sydney, and they've specifically shouted out, "We will look back at you and love you forever."
Oh shit!
As one of the artists in the Melbourne screamo scene to see at the moment. So I just found that funny. That's going to be Hanoi Traffic's debut EP towards an end, and they're opening for a very popular Australian screamo artist, which I haven't really talked about, and I probably should have been talking about because they are probably the most successful screamo artists we have in the modern scene at the moment, which is kind of an oxymoron. But they got onto the festival list for that little screamo festival happening in Canada, which I think is incredible for a Gold Coast band to be playing over there. And they got 2 albums, both 20 minutes. I saw them open for La Dispute. I had a friend who was basically saying, "Yeah, you got to see Blind Girls. I love them, and I didn't know what they sounded like." And then the second I had finished listening to them live, I messaged him and just asked, "Are you okay?" That's Blind Girls, Weight of Everything, and Residue albums. Both 20 minutes long.
All right. I can go next. I have been playing a lot of Borderlands games as of lately, and that has gotten me back on
Cage the Elephant.
Cage the Elephant kick. We're going to be doing Thank You, Happy Birthday.
Thank You, Happy Birthday?
Yes.
Oh, damn. Okay.
With the song 2024.
Man, this band is great. I sure hope that the lead singer is stable.
Yeah.
All right. So we had some plans that we were going to do for the week after the interview. Those plans got changed. So I don't really have the most solid pick for what I want to pick. So instead, Tricks, pick a number 1 through 5.
Oh, shit. 4.
Ritz, pick a different
7.
number 1 through 5.
7. 2.
All right. Ritz, pick a number 1, 3, or 5.
Fuck, you're gonna make me pick the odds. 5.
Tricks, pick a number 1 or 3.
1.
All right. So if we take all of those numbers away, we are left with one choice. Let me make
Great.
sure.
Okay, so what did we miss? You gotta tell us what we missed before you tell us what you picked.
Yes, we have to be disappointed first.
So, I had actually 6 choices. And the sixth choice
So
was
if we just obeyed you, it would have been number 6.
correct, which you were very close to doing. So the disobeying pick was Plastic Death by Glass Beach.
I'm
Eh.
gonna pick that. I'm gonna pick that later anyway. So
Number 1 was my original plan, Tom York's Eraser, and then the EP that it comes with it. Number 2 was the album Mirrored by Battles.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Number 4 was some more Elizabeth Whittington.
Oh, is
Damn.
that gonna be one with the 51-minute song?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah.
Number 5. Chicks will like this. Number 5 was the first 2 Tiny Tim albums.
Oh, hell
no,
yeah.
I would have loved that too.
That would have been great.
Fuck. Ah.
Instead, y'all have chosen choice number 3, which is a 2-parter choice. The first part is us continuing to cover Online Friends with the Winter Tape EP and their very first song, Scarecrow Anthem.
All right.
The other part is we're covering the original album before the singles came out last year by one Christian Khan. The album is called
I was just thinking of him.
I Won't Feel Like I Do Now, which from my memory and from the tags on Bandcamp, alternative rap, bedroom pop.
Yeah.
All right.
This
this
is
is-
real music now.
Yeah.
So, y'all have chosen the most obscure out there pick, which I always appreciate.
Hell yes.
We're both still pissed off that we didn't get Tiny Tim though.
We are.
Yeah.
Those are all things I plan on picking eventually anyway.
I love
But-
how just Tiny Tim is SpongeBob music.
But in the end,
My voice is too shot to do Tiny Tim tonight.
in the end, though, those choices from everybody are once again from Trix, Cage the Elephant, thank you, happy birthday. Riddlin's Hanoi Traffic, it was called Towards an End.
Yeah, Towards an End.
And then
And the 2 Blind Girls albums.
Weight of
Residue and
Everything
Weight of-
and Residue, yep.
Residue.
And then my pick is now the album I Won't Feel Like I Do Now by Christian Khan, Online Friends Winter Tape EP, and their very first song, a Scarecrow Anthem. That is it for this week. My name is Dominic. You can catch me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter. Dominic Choki on YouTube if you must go there. I'm also on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes. We are soon going to be doing an episode about Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Check it out if you like.
I have been Riddlin. You can catch me on our website, riddlinforkids.github.io, if you could even catch any of that because I slurred every single word that I spoke. I also have a YouTube channel. That's in the description below.
I have been Trix. You can catch me inside of your walls. Check out our YouTube page, our by our clock. You know the drill at this point.
I just can't believe Trix is in my roles. Should have just knocked. It would have let you in.
Are you the house with the clock on my walls?
Yes.
Wonderful. With that, have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night.